Welcome back to Ignite Agility. We are so happy to have Vanessa Wasche back with us for a second time. Vanessa, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
So give our listeners just your pitch, your high level. What does Vanessa do at On Point Speaking?
What do I do? Yes. So I teach communication and public speaking. And a lot of times when people think about public speaking training, they think, oh, I'm speaking to a group of 500 people or 300 people in an audience every single day. No, I teach everyday communication skills. And yes, for those bigger stages as well. But it's mostly day to day communication and just being more efficient, clarity, concise, to the point. Hence the name On Point Speaking.
So
So we teach.
people, yeah, don't
Yeah.
need to tune out right now if they're like, hey, Vanessa, I'm not doing a TED Talk.
Yes. Oh gosh. No, no, no. This is every day, even one-on-one meetings, podcasts, town halls, anything that you've got going on, really. And that's what we do every day. And so we teach groups and we also teach private coaching, and that's what we do over here.
Awesome. And last time we had you with us, we focused a lot on interviewing skills because so many of the interviews had flipped to this medium, not necessarily in person, but they were being held over, Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever. So the last time you and I talked, we spent some time on building trust right away and really getting that authentic voice, really having people work on their authenticity. So here we are now, and it's all AI all the time. I mean,
It's a big shift. I mean, wow.
name a single conversation where that doesn't come up.
Every day I hear it on the
Mm.
street. I'll be grocery shopping. I hear it's AI, AI, AI. It's all over.
And they really mean large language model, but we digress. So, since this AI can just spit out a perfect speech if they do have a TED talk or a presentation to give, or even somebody who says, hey, I'm going to have a one on one with my boss, prep me, generate X number of talking points for me. How do you coach clients right now to not lose their authentic self or how to stand out, even if they insist on prepping with AI?
I listen. I have many friends who are, I don't want to say against AI, and I have colleagues who are against AI. I am
Mhm.
not. I think that it's not going to take us over. Humanity will always exist. I think it's a great tool. So when you are prepping for a meeting with your boss or you have to go give a presentation, it's a great tool to help you narrow down your talking points, etc. But the way in which you deliver them, that's what AI can't do right now. So that's where I come in, is to help people with their authenticity. So a lot of times people will call me and they'll say, oh, I want to have better executive presence. And I say, oh, great. But that has a different definition for everybody. To me, it means, how do you be relaxed enough in every situation to be your authentic self? So if you don't know what your authentic self is, or if you
Mm.
don't know the strengths or opportunities for your communication style, that's where AI cannot help you. But it can help you narrow down your talking points so that you have them organized in the moment.
Nice. And then you said the magic word, humanity. You and I are
Ah,
both, we're both in the people business.
yes,
you
we
know,
are.
I have introduced myself as a people geek, as somebody who really helps team building, but, from a Scrum and Agile perspective, focusing on the people problems, which makes me think of, Dr. Jerry Weinberg, rest his soul. Number one, no matter what they tell you, it's a people problem. Rule number two, see rule number one. So you and I are both in the people business. And so how many times have you sat down to watch a documentary or watch something and this robotic voice comes out of and you're like, oh, this was just generated by AI. I can't listen to this.
Mhm.
So is there any sort of tip or advice that you find yourself giving people to avoid sounding robotic, or their audience or anybody listening to them going, oh, that's straight out of AI, that's not coming from them?
I've been thinking about Stephen Hawking a lot
Mm.
recently because I just watched a documentary about him. And what's interesting is Stephen Hawking had a computer voice, right? but he still sounded so human. It's because he wrote it himself. So there's an
Mm.
element of humanity that he's able to still touch with us, even though his voice is technically a robot. But I bring that over to AI too, because if you are just reading what AI came out for your speech, you're going to sound monotone. But I
Yeah.
was coaching this before AI. If you just read a script, unless you're Meryl Streep, who can make the phone book sound amazing, you, if you're reading AI, you become very monotone. So it has to come from you. So that's why I don't tell my clients to script their presentations. Have a layout, have a bullet point, have an agenda, but it needs to come from you and your words and what you're saying, because humanity and our energy, we have the ability to change the energy of a room. AI does not. So that's where our authenticity and preparation really comes in, is that we can change the energy of a room. Even if you don't have a voice like Stephen Hawking didn't, he still could change the energy of a room just by being there and his human words coming out.
And the part that would inevitably trip anybody up, even if they did use AI for their talking points or chat GPT for their talking points or whatever, is Q&A. And it doesn't matter if it's an executive you're coaching giving a town hall presentation, or if it's somebody you're coaching trying to prep for an interview. So how do you advise, or what kind of advice are you giving to people to prep for Q&A right now?
Well, right now, what I am doing is, okay, you can use AI to help you prep. So what I mean by that is you can say, what are some potential questions my
Mm.
CEO might be asking me? Or what are some potential questions my manager might be asking me? That can help you. But I have a tool that I teach in my boot camp about how to answer questions and how to answer hostile questions effectively.
Mm.
The trap for most people when they answer questions is to say, that's a good question. That needs to pass away, in my opinion, because every
Can't
question is
tell
a
you
good
how many
question.
times I hear that, right?
That's a good question.
What an
That's a good
interesting
question.
question. Oh, that's a good question. Buying me time, buying me time.
Oh, 100%. And so that's what they're doing. And it doesn't help you. So really, we want to be having a better back pocket tool for how to answer those questions. It's more subtle than that's a good question. But really, you should be prepared to answer any question in the moment, but also stay calm while doing it. And that's something else we teach at On Point Speaking, is how do you manage tension, nerves, anxiety? Because if you're calm in the moment, you're able to think better.
And it's not just prepping. The tools are also doing assessments of things. Like, I'm sure we'll put this recording out there and my inbox will be pummeled with, oh, do you want to see our tips? We've assessed the video. How many times so and so said or a pause or but. Do you weave any sort of advice into potential metrics? And it's not even just like us putting a recording out there. Let me explain what's in my head. There's a couple of recruiters that I'm working with right now who have gone 100% agentic for their screening interviews. That's my personal opinion. Sorry, not sorry,
Wow.
people.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Keep an open mind, Angela. Just let's do it, right? Let's give it the old try. And I was screened out, which made me laugh, number one. But number two, um, I didn't enjoy the experience. And I know that because I'm on the telephone with the bot, now I have no transparency into what, the bot assessed about
Yes.
me or didn't assess about me, but I didn't get a call. I didn't get a human callback. And I happen to know the recruiter very, very well. So it kind of ticked me off a little bit, but I digress. Are you hearing from any of your clients, your customers, about those kinds of assessments, or how to kind of manage that, I guess?
I agree with you. I think interviews should be human to human, because as you and I are talking right now, I'm picking up on your cues, you're picking up on my cues. AI has weird cues. And one of the reasons I'm able to assess AI people online, even though they'll be doing fake commercials or whatever, is because the way we gesture before the thought, because that's the natural way we gesture. AI does this. Hi, everybody. My name is Vanessa. And they do it after the thought. And I'm like, oh, that's AI. So when we're being interviewed, we're picking up on these weird cues that the bot is giving us. And so it might throw us off quite a bit. Now, you're an amazing people person. You've got great communication
Well, thank
skills,
you.
but I'm shocked that it didn't pass you on. So then I'm going, well, what is it reading? Because if I'm being authentic and I'm not necessarily smiling the whole time during the interview, the AI bot might say, well, she didn't smile once, she's unfriendly. But that wasn't how I was feeling that day. If I'm going like this the whole time to you and I'm smiling throughout this whole interview, you'd be like, whoa, that's really aggressive. Why is she doing that? So I think it hasn't been successful on picking up on true humanity and interactions. I'm highly against it. I would say for those people who I'm sorry are subjected to it, try and get rid of your filler words as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I would say still try to be authentic as much as you can. I would never coach anybody to say this, but smile a few times during it so it knows that you're friendly. And I would never
Mm-hmm.
tell anybody to do that in a real interview, human to human.
Yeah. So there's some differences there. One of the things I've noticed too is it's horrible with slang. You know,
Oh,
we I I always talk about post pandemic. I've never felt my Americanness as much as I have since our classes went virtual and a lot of the coaching stuff has gone virtual because it's become a global marketplace. You know, I have people joining virtual classes from all over the world, and it made me painfully aware of how much slang we tend to use in America. And with some of my clients insisting on turning on the Copilot agent or, you know, whatever bot they're using, I've noticed they suck at interpreting slang or profanity.
yeah. No, I think it's constantly learning, right? And what's interesting, what I don't know if you've seen the documentary. I think it's called AI Doc.
No.
It is
Uh-uh.
fascinating because it's about this guy who thinks AI is going to take over the world, and he's about to have his first child, and he's like, "Should I be even having a child in this environment?" Listen, I know AI will be smarter than us, but where it's never going to be smarter than us is in that humanity, that feeling. That's why we go to the theater still. That's why we still watch movies. That's why we still listen to music, is because that creativity is never going to go away. AI is only being trained for the left part of your brain. So we're only teaching it statistics and patterns. It's looking for patterns, which is not a bad thing, but that's not creativity. Creativity is not patterns. So as it's evolving and as it's moving forward, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think that we have to be smart in how we use it as a tool. The other thing is I use it to coach clients in
Mm.
different ways. So, for example, I had a client this morning who has a couple different filler words. And it's really fun to use AI to coach people now because I have metrics. Communication is so hard to have metrics in because communication is very black. It's not black and white. It's very colorful and it's got a lot of different ideas and nuances to it. But where AI can help is I can say, oh, you had 75 you knows during this call, or you had 6 yeah, or you had right, or like so, and we can count them. And so then we look at the next meeting that he did and we count it again. It's like, oh, those got better. But where AI cannot help is how to fix those words. It can say,
Mm.
pause more, do this or do that, but it's not actually working with the person because everybody's different and everybody learns in a different way and has different, it can't assess why you're doing those filler words.
So are you one of the people who is leery of AI taking your job, or it's like, oh, there's no need for coaches anymore because you can just use AI to do it?
Nah, I'm not worried about it at all because I still think even, I think Microsoft has a product, I'd have to check, that has, even PowerPoint. It can count your filler words. It can give you feedback on you sounded confident or you sounded this way, but it's only looking at your language. It's not looking at your tone.
Mm.
So that's where I feel like I will always have a job, is making sure that people are authentic. They still can change the energy of a room and be inspirational. AI can't do that. Maybe it will one day, I don't know, but I don't foresee it happening in the next few years anyway.
So you and I are hosting one of your boot camps again this fall. The last one that we did, you had kind of a cross section of people. So if you could say a few things to our listeners about who this is right for. And I guess the one that stands out in my head is the person that said, hey, I've been told I'm passed over time and time again for a promotion because my executive presence isn't there. And so that person was able to come to your boot camp and then subsequently get that promotion. Is there a common type of person this boot camp is right for, or I guess who it's not right for?
I would say it's not right for, it's mid to upper level management that it's right for. I would not say, people in college or high school, anything like that. We're looking at mid to upper level management. But anybody that needs to work on clarity, conciseness, getting to the point in their day-to-day speaking, having that executive presence, if they've just been promoted or they're looking for a promotion, they want to move up, if they've been given feedback that their communication isn't where it should be, or if you're somebody who's like, I just wish I had the tools to communicate better and I just don't know what to do. That's who this boot camp is for, because it covers a lot. And I can't tell you how many times people have taken it and they said, gosh, I wish I would have had this in college. I've had people come out of business school and say, I've never had these skills before. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised. Luckily, in some elementary schools now, they're focusing on more public speaking skills. I hope they don't put me out of a job, but I'm happy that people are looking into that more and more, because so much of our communication is nonverbal, 60% at least.
60
so
to 90.
60
There's
to
some
90.
there's some studies. I open every one of my CSM classes by asking if people know the range of statistics. So the pessimistic studies, I'll say 60. And then there's some out there who are like, oh, this is really important. It's like 90%.
90%. And so if you don't know, if you've never been aware or thought about what your body is doing while you're talking to somebody, that's what this boot camp is for. Because the other thing that people love to tell me is, oh, Vanessa, you're a good public speaker because it's just natural to you. That is not true. I've been working at this for years and years and years. They are skills that can be acquired. It's not just like you're automatically coming out of the womb and you're a great track runner, right? They train, they learn. So they are tools and they are skills that you can pick up very easily.
Is there anything I have not asked you today that you would have thought that I would have asked?
I want to know if what your thoughts are on people being interviewed through AI. If you were to, having gone through that experience now, if you were to give somebody advice, what would you say?
I would say don't do it. It was gross. It was it was really gross. And number one, it was on the phone. So there was no facial recognition involved.
Oh my gosh.
But number two, the bot would play it back and then ask you, did it get it right? And so it was really painful because you had to really listen for what the bot picked up and then say, no, that's not really what I meant there. Here's what I really meant. It was longer than a human interview would have been. And then number two, no feedback loop. Absolutely no way of knowing. And you can laugh at me and that's fine. It was for a trainer position. I mean, I've been doing adult training my entire professional career, and I'm in my 50s.
Good at it.
Thank you. But 12,000 over 12,000 students trained in Scrum and Agile, and not even a callback, nothing. Zip, zero, nada. So
I've been hearing this with resumes too. One of my best girlfriends is trying to get a job, and she saw something on Instagram where AI is looking at resumes and passing over very qualified people because it doesn't understand the nuances. And honestly, if I were to interview for my current position as a communication coach, it would probably pass on me because it would say, oh, your background's in acting. Nope. And it wouldn't understand the connection between the two. And that's what else is happening. So I think that that's really difficult. I think the other thing I wanted to say about using AI to coach people that you didn't ask yet was around that creativity piece. So I teach a section called storytelling for business.
Okay.
Back in the day, we'll call it 2019, I used to give people a book about how to be more creative so that they could come up with ideas for images and metaphors or whatever. Now, I don't do that anymore. Now I tell people go ask AI for some images and metaphors to give you ideas. Sometimes it has really good ones, sometimes it has bad ones, but it can spark an idea in your head thinking, okay, it started with that, but I've got a better one. So I think it's a good tool to help you with your creativity, but it's not going to be creative for you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming back and sharing some additional thoughts with us. We will go ahead and put the link in the comments below and we'll pin those for the fall workshop in case people are wondering how they can join.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure.